So I was looking at the comments on the most recent video I did, and people are like, can you please talk about Paula Deen? And honestly, like, I don't have too much to say. I've been like, I'm really active on marshmallow.com, so whenever shit pops off, that's where you can find the tea. I did want to say that I was kind of disappointed, like, watching some of my favorite black bloggers and vloggers talk about this, and people of color in general, because I know a lot of people were making statements like, oh, so, everybody says something behind closed doors. Everybody's done XYZ. And it's like, whoa, like, not only are you not taking into account white privilege and, the notions that you can be racist towards white people is just like, it's just not founded. Again, we're I'm not going to break down white privilege for you or white supremacy because that's some basic shit. Like, we're not on the basics. You know what I mean? That's not where we're at. So if you need to educate yourself, please do. If you need to educate yourself so you can have this conversation, that's a positive thing. You know what I mean? Go ahead and get your learning on. There's so many links. My blog is I wouldn't say my blog is like a super resource for like people who are just getting started, and like, breaking down white supremacy and unpacking what that looks like in their life. And I'm talking to white people and people of color, because there are a lot of people of color who are like hell asleep, and they, and I don't want it to come off as like I'm blaming any people of color, because I realize how the system is set up. As I've said many times before, it's not like there's somebody that came up to me and was like, hey, Tatiana, how about today we learn about white supremacy and why a lot of the things that you feel are valid as fuck, and why like how you are being oppressed and in how many ways, and it's not so much I'm looking at white supremacy to kind of like clarify where I'm being oppressed, but it does kind of give you perspective on shit. And a lot of things that like I didn't understand before, I understand now. And I think it's been invaluable to me to really learn where I come from, like it's just been really important for me. But the argument being that fucking everybody has said something racist in behind closed doors, or everyone has had done something racist, that's not really true. Again, we're not just talking about Paula Deen saying nigga or nigger, as people want to differentiate. It's more so about the consistent lack of ethics and the blatant racism that was felt by the people of color who were predominantly black in her establishments. I want to say right now, I've seen the affidavit, I've seen all the paperwork, and what this bitch has been accused of, and what she's going to court for, and what she's admitted to. It was more than just racial slurs. The lighter skinned people of color that worked at that establishment where Paula Deen was operating, they were allowed to use the bathroom that guests and customers were able to use. Darker skinned POC had to go in the back, and POC were not allowed to come through the front of the building. They had to come through the back of the building. Paula Deen's brother, the motherfucker that was working there too, was, he was sued for sexual harassment, for one of the employees. So, I mean, that. And then I guess like the cherry on the fucking cake is planning to hire black people to play slaves at a fucking wedding to make it traditionally Southern. And you got all these people up here talking about, well, she's from a different time. But I'll tell you what is from this time, okay? Walmart done kicked the bitch out. Walmart said, you know what, bitch? No more, none of your little snacks, none of your fucking prepared fucking meals. Nope. Your cooking line, cooking accessories. Nope. And honestly, fuck Walmart, but, shout out to Walmart, like on the low key, on the lowest of keys. You know what I mean? I didn't even really fucking wave, bitch. I gestured. Do y'all know this bitch lost the motherfucking casino buffet? Yes. This, and me and this nigga was talking about it too. We was like, you know what? That's how the fuck you make some money. Get a motherfucking buffet in a casino. Cause truth to you already at the casino feeling crazy, gambling, going nuts. And then when you go to the fucking buffet, a Paula Deen buffet is just Butterworld, actually. So, I mean, I'm not really surprised that she had that shit popping off. But, you know what? Shout out again to the casinos that were like, all right, bitch, you need to get out of here. And they probably put a motherfucking emeralds or some shit in there. Who knows? But really, you know what? I'm happy about that shit. When racists don't get to fucking prosper, that's delightful for me. Okay, I don't know about you because I don't fucking know you, but I know me as a black queer person. I know that, like, going through life, I see a lot of fuck shit from white people. I see a lot of fuck shit literally every day I live. I get fuck shit from white people. Every day I blog. Every day I show my nigga face anywhere. I am a nigga, and people let me know that shit. Okay, and it just feels good to know that this white person thought that they was going to do something, but they fucking didn't, okay? They fucking didn't. They thought that they were going to do something, they fucking didn't. And I don't give a shit what happens to Paula Deen. I don't give a shit what happens to her because, truthfully, this is one fucking cornflake in a bowl of cereal. I don't give a shit about her. I'm happy that I'm seeing her squirm and getting knocked down. That shit makes me feel good because I don't got time for no fucking racists. But it's killing me about how a lot of people are trying to forgive her and act like she just said the word nigga. And then it also shows me how many white people out here telling me blatantly that they be saying the word nigga in the fucking comfort of their own homes. Like, bitch, it's comedy to me, you know what I mean? Whatever the fuck I say in my house, I say outside. So it's just interesting to me that, like, you know, it's not even interesting to me that white people say nigga and nigger and other variations of the word nigga in their home. It doesn't surprise me. I suppose what's so surprising is all the white people, like, blatantly making it known that, like, they be saying shit like that in front of their family members and shit like that, and they don't give a fuck. Here's the thing. No black person is surprised by this. I'll say this, the only ones that are surprised is the ones that was eating that food. The only one that's really mad is the ones that was really, like, going to the restaurant, buying the pots. Somebody got a Paula Deen cook set somewhere and they mad. I don't know who those people are. It wasn't me, so, like, I'm not surprised nor am I mad. But I do know that it's not surprising, nor is it something that's, like, so, you know, because, like, point blank, like, before I really knew about white supremacy in the terms of it being white supremacy, like, before I really understood a lot of shit about my identity and about, like, the dynamics of power. I had this friend, this white girl, and I've actually made videos about her. She was very racist, and she said a lot of things, did a lot of things, you know, and this is my best friend. And, you know, I would hang out with her and she would do shit that was crazy. And, like, me and my other friend, we would laugh about it. But I never really clocked it for what it was. And it was blatant racism. And, you know, I'm going to go into a couple of accounts. And, like, keep in mind, there are black people right now. I see y'all niggas. What up? Y'all got white friends that be perpetrating and be fucking up and be oppressing you and be doing all types of fuck shit around you. And you know what? Strength to you and peace to you. But really, when I think about it, I got too many people of color around me that I could call that'll feel me on levels that, like, white people can't even get to. So it's like, I really don't be mourning for the loss of my white friends. It makes me sad that I wasted so much time and didn't clock them. And it makes me wonder, like, how many white people I could have clocked. You know what I mean? Like, how many white people I could have clocked. Like, and actually, like, made a difference to. But, like, I can't be bugging about how many white people I didn't, like, expose to, like, white supremacy and white privilege because I wasn't exposed to it, you know? The feelings that I feel towards, like, white people who don't get it, it's like, I feel like I wish that somebody cared enough to talk to you about it. It's not gonna be me, and it's mainly not gonna be me because nobody gives a fuck about me enough to talk to me about it, you feel me? Like, nobody came up to me and was like, hey, you black trans queer person, how are ya? Do you want to talk about intersectionalism? Like, do you want to talk about racism and in terms, like, that you can actually understand? Do you really want to apply this shit to your life? Like, nobody was, like, talking to me about all the identities that, like, I'm very much a part of that I really, like, didn't understand or couldn't come to. And, you know, again, shout out to Tumblr. Fuck anybody who says Tumblr isn't a valid place to get information or to learn anything, because I think that that's a very like privileged way of thinking, to think that like you could go to school for all these years and not learn nothing important or valuable from a source where it's just like a bunch of people creating content. To think that like that place is not a valid wealth of knowledge is just like, it's just like very erasing of experiences and of knowledge and of different types of knowledge. Because I think we all know what we learn in school. You know what I mean? We learn white people fan fiction. So it's really hard to like go to school and pay attention and give a fuck. And I really feel like that's why a lot of POC don't excel in school, because like it's just a bunch of like, it's like white comic books, you know what I mean? We get to see white people be victorious in every single situation. Even when they teach us about slavery, it's not anything that's like a real account of it. It's like some fucking Betty Crocker ass bullshit where, if you're a black person, when they're teaching about slavery, which I was always the black person in school when we were learning about slavery, when we talked about slavery, when we talk about civil rights. Every time we want to talk about these little niches, these little pockets of history where they want to include black people, niggas want to look at me in class. Niggas want to alienate me in class, make me feel like I'm the lone nigga. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's one. You know what I mean? We talk about civil rights. Oh, there's a nigga. You know what I mean? There's somebody that we talked about the struggle, and at that time I was not educated enough. You know what I mean? It kills me, some of the conversations I had with people before I learned. And I'm not trying to be ableist when it comes to education. I just feel like until I could really pinpoint what the fuck was happening, I really feel like I made to ask myself. I really said a lot of things, and I feel like that way a lot about like shit not too long ago, to be honest. I feel like some of the shit that I've said has been slut shaming, has been erasing of trans identities, has been, upholding of white supremacy. Like, I've done those things, and I've been able to check it myself and also be called out. You know what I mean? And like I said before, being called out is important. It's important for people to tell you when you're fucking up. I think sometimes people get it misconstrued and they feel like a call out needs to be an attack, because I'm not going to say a call out is going to be nice. However, there can be call outs that don't end friendships or don't end relationships or don't fuck up relationships. But I will say that I understand somebody calling me out and not being like super nice to me. However, I will say again, there is a big difference between calling someone out and bullying somebody for something that you don't agree with. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was gonna give you guys accounts about my racist friend. Basically, what I wanted to bring up was one year, I didn't want to go home for Thanksgiving. I kind of was like, I actually have moved into my new apartment. I feel like this happens to a lot of people. Like, when you move out of college and you get your first apartment, you don't want to fucking go nowhere. Like, you want to just be in your apartment. Like, you don't want to fuck up that rent. You know what I mean? Like, I pay rent to be here. So I was like, I don't really want to go home for Thanksgiving, because I knew that if I went home, I'd have to be there for a little bit. So I ended up going with my friend who lived like right outside of Boston to go to Thanksgiving at her house. First I get to her house, right, and it's in the middle of the woods, and I'm texting my friend at the time, my friend Muhammad, and it was really funny because like I'm like sending him texts like with no words, right? I sent him, as soon as I got into their house, I sent like 3 pictures, and like one was of like this like Aunt Jemima pottery set that they had, complete with Uncle Ben. On the fridge there was actually a black man with no facial features other than eyes and teeth, and he was eating a piece of watermelon. And that was a magnet on their refrigerator. And then I look over to my right, and across from their refrigerator hanging up is like one of those like Rasta hats, like one of them rainbow Snoop Lion hats, with the fake dreads attached to it. And at the time I was wearing a sickening ass wig, and they really asked me if I would like to wear that hat. Like, they were dead serious. Like, "Ooh, do you want to put this on?" And I was like, no. No, of course not. But I didn't like bug out. I know I paused, but I didn't bug like I would today. And then it's like, I be getting mad at myself because I'm like, damn, Tatiana, like, white people should have got slapped for that shit. Like, people should have got slapped for that. Like, I owe so many white people slaps out here, but I'm gonna move on. And then, as if that wasn't even like the craziest shit, I go inside of their bathroom and they got a motherfucking sign above the toilet with this black man on it talking about some Uncle Remus's rice, with the tagline, "This show am good." And I was like, okay, like, this is some Jim Crow era fucking memorabilia in your house. White people, why? I was scared as hell, to be honest with you. And I was just like, their family treated me really nice and stuff, aside from all the racist things around me. But then you know, Thanksgiving comes up, we actually go to her uncle house, who lives in like the middle of the woods, even deeper in the fucking woods, right? We all sitting around dinner, eating, having a good time, laughing and stuff. And then out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, like I'm like, pass the peas, you know, let me butter my roll, and then somebody say the word nigger. Out of nowhere, and it's just me. It's just me and all these white people, and they all looked at me, and it was like this feeling inside of me that was like, white man, I'm in your house. Like, I'm in your house. I'm your guest. I'm your fucking guest. Like, at base level, like, make me feel comfortable. Base level, make me feel comfortable. But, like, this, it was hard. Like, I finished my plate. You know what I mean? I kept eating. You know what I mean? Nigga gotta live. But, like, after that, you know, I was just ready to go home. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I remember, if I could bring up one last thing that happened that I remember from that weekend is, I was doing my hair and I had taken off my wig and I washed my hair and it dried. And my hair has, like, I have a lot of different hair textures going on with my natural hair. But when I was curling my hair is the type of hair when, like, it's wet. If I twist it, it'll curl. And then when it dries, it'll stay, like, finger twisted. And my friend comes up and she sees me with all these curls. And she was just like, when did that happen? And I was like, oh, I just sat here and like that. She's like, oh, so like that's like not your real hair. And I was like, this is my real hair. And she really like went back and forth with me over the validity of like my hair texture. I was fucked up, you know what I mean? She couldn't accept that my hair texture was like luxurious. Like, it made her mad. I don't know. It's wild to me, but I appreciate y'all for watching this. If y'all want to talk about Paula Deen somewhere, we can, but I'm not surprised really. Like, that bitch is cray.